pressure looks good.
Doubling up. Roger, roll with Atlantic.
Water towers, fly!
Flight downside, SC off.
Yikes. You bet. Okay. We don't need any more of these.
All right, folks, you know the drill. Fast and loose, let us know if you can hear and see us right now. I'm here in the middle. I should be moving, and you should hear the sound of my voice. Please tell me you can hear the sound of my voice. I'm going to listen to see if y'all can hear the sound of my voice real quick. Okay, good. Whew. Jeez, streaming, how does it work? We are here for another exciting episode of NASA Spaceflight Live. We will be answering some questions and talking mostly about Starship today. Couple other things that are important going on. Asteroid samples coming back to Earth, missions getting delayed, that sort of stuff. But a lot of today's stream is going to be spent talking about Starship. With me today, I've got two buddies on either side of me. In this corner, I don't know, Chris Bergin, NASA Spaceflight Actual. Chris, let's see if your audio is working. I really do hope it is.
I hope it is. Yeah, evening.
All right, there we go. So that was Chris. Y'all let me know if you heard Chris Bergin there, the founder of NASA Spaceflight, over on one side. And then on the other side, Jack Beyer. Jack, how are you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm getting an echo through my headset. I might have misconfigured it. So I feel slightly insane trying to talk while hearing myself talk. So, hi, doing good.
It will drive you insane if you need to disconnect and reconnect or something like that. Let me know with your headset. But we're going to continue on here. Just let me know. Am I echoing as well, or is it just when you talk you hear an echo? You may not even hear me.
I'm dumb. I just had the YouTube stream open on my computer. I'm dumb. Ignore me.
You had the YouTube stream open on your computer. Nice. And Jack, we'll turn you up just a little bit. People saying you're a little low. Anyways, y'all know how this is. We don't have a team of 50 people. We don't have a $10 million budget to do these streams or anything like that. But we do try to bring you cool live streams at least once a week that we call NSF Live. NSF Live is our live interactive show. Really confuses people who watch the VOD afterwards. But right now, if it is December 5th at 3:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's live right now is when we're doing this. And if it's not that time or converted to that time, it's whatever. Y'all know how videos work. We are here to do some live Q&A and talk about cool things that have been going on over the course of the week. Couple things really quickly. Like I said, we're going to be doing a lot of talking about Starship, but we are also going to talk about some other related news. We may start with some of the other news first, but as we go through, if you have a question for us, because this is live and interactive, tag us in chat at NASASpaceflight. We've got some special software that Michael Baylor's written that'll actually bring your chats in as long as you start them with at NASASpaceflight. It puts them into a queue. Good questions we can actually pull into a question queue, display them on the screen, and ask them and answer them for you. So if you have a question, tag us in chat at NASASpaceflight. That puts it into the handy dandy software, and then we can sometimes get to all the questions. And who am I kidding? We never get to all the questions. That's a thing. Also, the same thing with super chats. There are already super chats coming in. Andre and Moldy Space Industries, I see y'all in the queue already. If you do a super chat, we appreciate you, because that's how we're able to continue doing these live shows, right? All the different types of coverage that we bring you, cameras and streams and roadside stuff and launch coverage and whatever it is, we're able to do that because of y'all's support. If you do a super chat, we might not always get them in real time. They go into the same sort of software that we've got here, and we will read through them on occasion to say thank you so much for supporting our spaceflight news coverage endeavors. So without further ado, those are my disclaimers to get the show started here. And we will hop over. This is just going to be sort of freeform today. We're not going to be like, all right, Jack, 5 minutes on Starship SN8 or whatever. Who are we kidding? We'd never spend 5 minutes on Starship SN8. We are just going to be having a conversation here. We hope that y'all join us, but let's go ahead and get started. Somewhere around here, there's a document that we were going to talk about. What do y'all want to start talking about?
Earlier.
I've got, we know that probably the most recent news is the landing of that asteroid sample. Did that happen earlier? What's going on with that? actually.
Yeah,
It's
that
not
was
on the
weird
list.
because we're watching a JAXA live stream, which was being translated into English.
Right?
Quite poorly, but to blame them, at least we got some English commentary out of it. We saw a re-entry video or of a live stream of it, and then we saw a replay of it, and it all seemed happy. Everyone was clapping. We didn't know what was going on after that because they were still clapping. And then JAXA put a tweet out saying it landed, and they'd basically got a beacon saying it landed. But the live stream was still saying we don't know where it is or whatever. But we're going to go on the tweet, and we're going to make the assumption it's landed, and they're going to recover it. So we're waiting now for a picture of them recovering it from the ground in Australia. So all being well, we'll see a tweet soon, which will show a picture of the capsule being recovered.
And that was coming. I mean, we were getting those from JAXA, correct?
Yeah.
I'm literally bringing up the tweet right now as we said it. There's JAXA right there, and wow. Yeah, these are translated.
There's people in chat saying they've just found the capsule, so I've not been looking on Twitter for the last 10 minutes. So let's have a quick look for that, shall we?
Yeah, let's see if we can grab that so that we can bring it up real quick, and it's not just y'all looking at our faces. I picked the one thing that we didn't have a link ready for.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, 2 minutes ago.
Okay, wait, we have a link now. Hayabusa intro video. Thank you. Okay.
No, they just said they found it. The tweet says we found the capsule together with the parachute. Wow.
Wow.
I can't put wows on my tweets. That's not fair.
You can put wow on your tweet. You're in charge of
I
your
could,
tweets.
couldn't I? Yeah, but yeah.
I put wow in my tweets all the time. I mean,
yeah, people will go, but Chris, you're not a serious news organization if you put wows on your tweets.
Well, I'm going to put extra wows in my tweets then.
Yeah.
So here is the tweet. This is actually from Elizabeth Tasker, who I believe is one of the mission control mission operators. Isn't she tied into the mission somehow?
Oh yeah, she's literally the English element of the English element of JAXA, who does the communications towards the outside communications. She was the lady who accidentally broke the Twitter account.
Oh, that's right.
For JAXA by putting the birth date as the capsule, the spacecraft's launch date, and of course that made Twitter think there was an 8-year-old tweeting on an official account, and that locked it. But luckily, everyone RT'd it to the point that the people that support at Twitter recognized the mistake and put the feedback in just in time. So yeah, it was quite funny.
Did anybody hear that story, right? Where she was going to get the, when it's your birthday on Twitter, you open it up, you get balloons on the page or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so she went in and she edited the birthday for the official Twitter account for the mission to be the actual, I think it was launch date, right?
But I think it's either launch date or, yeah.
Something like that. And then the launch date meant that Twitter or that account was way underage. And for some reason, it's like, choose your age before we show you this content. Really? I mean,
yeah.
Anyways, I have a 14-year-old daughter, and I'm not sure what she puts into those forms, but she has access to the websites.
Yeah, we've got to protect young children from science, for God's sake, Yeah.
So she put that as the date in the form, and she wanted to get the balloons or whatever, and that made Twitter completely lock the account.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love
that story just because we've all had those days at work.
Oh
Maybe not that on that scale, but we've all had days at work where you hit the wrong button on the keyboard and it's like, no, I can't take it back. Oh no. Like it happens to everybody, even if your job is managing spacecraft or the Twitter account of a spacecraft, or we all have bad days. And it was kind of like one of those moments where we could all be like, oh, that sucks, but it'll get better, we promise. And everyone kind of banded together and retweeted it. It was a cool little, I mean, I'm sure it wasn't fun for
no, it wasn't fun for her. No, she was in bits.
No, but in the meantime, we all got a little bit of entertainment out of it, so that was kind of nice.
Yeah.
And it worked out at the end. I gotta say, like, I've been in situations like that where you make a mistake and you're like, oh my gosh, that was the dumbest mistake ever. I don't want to tell anybody. And massive props to her for saying, hey, here's what happened. I need help, instead of sort of hiding it or not mentioning it or trying to solve it for 3 days behind the scenes, reaching out to the Twitter fam and sort of the space community, and then all the people that just were coming out of the woodwork saying, Twitter support, somebody take care of this. Just so many verified accounts and people and then just all sorts of people. That was really awesome that she just said, hey, here's what happened. this is what I need help with. I messed up, but whatever, let's get it fixed instead of trying to hide it, which would have probably meant that it didn't get fixed in time, right? So
Yeah.
The fun thing is, it came back about 2 minutes after I retweeted the call for help. So I'm
So it
going
was
to take
you.
credit for it. Yeah, it was me. It was all to do with me. Thanks me. No, it wouldn't have been.
It was at NASASpaceflight
Yeah.
Actual that got somebody's attention.
Highly doubtful.
Oh, good deal. Again, y'all, if you've got questions for us, tag us in chat. We were just talking about Hayabusa, but unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of imagery that we've gotten from that yet. You can see here on the bottom of the screen the double fireball entering the atmosphere and sample capsule burning up, yada, yada, yada. Or not the sample capsule burning up, the spacecraft entering. Is this the right thing? That's 10 years ago. Yeah, this is the old,
spacecraft
old.
released the capsule, and the capsule is what re-entered, but the capsule's tiny, so I didn't expect some massive, like, re-entry we see from a spacecraft we're normally used to watching. They were lucky to
Gotcha.
capture anything, really, so that they've done really well. Capture
So
what they've captured.
If something like that, scroll down. Do we have something new? Ah, there we go. Thank you, Michael. So
Wow.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
That's so cool.
I have to go unfull screen so I can read about it. Sample capsule. So that's video of the sample capsule actually re-entering, huh?
That's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, there you
Oh,
go.
that's
It's
cool.
16 kilograms and 40 by 20 centimeters in diameter, so that's tiny.
Can you imagine? Look at that.
That's
I mean,
beautiful.
it went out, it scooped up an asteroid sample, and it's re-entering the Earth's atmosphere, and they have video of this. God.
Yeah, that is a peak of human achievement on many levels right there, including a video of it. Like the straight up, it's an outstanding accomplishment just of getting video of that. That's a really great
Yeah.
video. But also, of course, scooping up asteroid bits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always find orbital mechanics fascinating, where they can get something back from so far in deep space, and it's pinpointed back to Earth, and then pinpointed towards a landing part on Earth. That always bemuses me how they manage that, because all these things are moving at the same time, and the
Yep.
speed's involved.
I could do it in
I'm very
Kerbal.
thankful that
I couldn't do it in real life, but I could do it. I could get pretty close in Kerbal.
I thought you'd say
I'm really
that.
thankful that there's a number of people out there who are very smart, much smarter than me, who do math that can accomplish these sorts of things. Because yeah, I don't even want to wrap my head around the calculations that went into something like this.
Yeah, that's just I want to try and not re-enter a capsule one day. Not really. I want to try and capture a dragon that comes back one day, because when Crew Dragon re-enters in the Atlantic recovery zone,
Yeah.
and it's on a descending trajectory down to the Cape, going to the Atlantic, it goes right over me here in Charlotte. Like, I could drive south for 30 minutes, and just right above me is where it should be going through re-entry. So I don't know if that's exactly where the plasma would be, if I could see a plasma trail, but one day I want to take the cameras out during night or something like that and look up and see if, well, I guess they wouldn't be splashing down at night. Anyways, I want to see if I can catch something like this one day.
I hope you do. That would be really amazing. Because I've heard stories of people catching the space shuttle, the plasma trail from the space shuttle re-entering from Owens Valley up in California, and yeah, I mean, that's something that I would absolutely love. I've always said, I said a couple things. I want to see a big explosion from reasonably close, safely close, and I want to see something huge re-enter the atmosphere. And I think the space shuttle, or even a Dragon, qualifies as huge, because what is this? 16 kilograms? I mean, yeah, a Dragon is significantly more than 16 kilograms.
Slightly larger, yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just say that Jack said shuttle before me on the bingo card? So it's very important to know that.
Did somebody say shuttle? Somebody just yelled bingo in chat. Nice. Oh, so we will be standing by with JAXA here, waiting for some more imagery, some close-up photos of them recovering this from the ground, bringing the asteroid sample back. We saw all the cheering and stuff like that. A little bit of confusion with the live stream, but the fact that it is back home and they are out recovering it, maybe during the stream we will get some information that they found something pretty well. I don't know exactly what time it is, exactly where it landed, but I don't know if it's still the middle of the night over there or what the deal is. Maybe just the morning or something. But
yeah, it'd be early morning. But if people in chat notice it as well, put something in chat saying they've tweeted a picture.
Yeah. Good deal. Just let us know if y'all see something that we don't see. So let me see if I can mess up the next topic we're going to talk about. I'm going to actually look at the document and see what we have to show. I guess there's not really much to show on this one except for a tweet. But earlier today, we were getting ready to do a live stream for CRS 21, and
Mm.
that live stream did not happen because CRS 21 was delayed. Who wants to grab that one?
Well, I'll
Toss that out
start off
there.
by saying that we were expecting some weather constraints. It was down to 50-50 at the last weather briefing. They were saying the weather was trending better towards launch, but the problem was recovery weather, and that's what scrubbed it. Basically, SpaceX do want their boosters back. There's only so many boosters remaining, and they are trying to reuse as many as possible. I believe this is the fourth flight for this booster, and they will always aim to recover if they can. For a 24-hour delay and basically not turn the launch into expendable launch, I think it's worth it, and that's why they're going to go tomorrow. But yeah, the reason for the scrub wasn't to do with the vehicle; it wasn't to do with launch weather. It might have been at the time T0 because it's instantaneous window for ISS launches, but they had already predicted way in advance to scrub it way in advance that the recovery zone weather was going to be unacceptable. I wouldn't give the booster a chance to be landing on drone ships. So that's why it's moved 24 hours.
Can you? I mean, there. It's pretty recent that we've gotten to a place where NASA is okay with delaying one of these launches because of recovery
Mm,
weather. It's quite interesting that now we're in a point where they can scrub due to recovery weather versus something that is launch related. So it's unique. It's almost like fourth flight of a booster. Yeah, that's pretty outstanding. But how many times now have they scrubbed due to recovery weather? That's sort of a different metric, but I feel like it's becoming more and more common. Um, and it's kind of a good thing, right? Because like you said, they can only make a limited number of boosters, and it's important that they get them back. So it's cool that the customer is okay with those sorts of delays now.
I like it. That's a great point, Jack, because I remember back at the time that SpaceX were probably thinking, okay, NASA wants this mission launching. If we can't get the booster back, we'll expend it. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
Let's just get the launch out of the way. They've brought NASA more on board to their mentality of like, this is why we do these missions, why we can charge you this amount of money because we recover our boosters and we can charge you less. So you've got to play ball with us when we can't recover the booster. It's gonna impact on our operations. And NASA said, fine by us. Okay, 24-hour delay. So yeah, I like how that's moved in that positive direction of enabling reusability by allowing them to have the best opportunities to recover the boosters.
I think it's really interesting that reusable rockets are all the rage, but reusable rockets are more susceptible to weather delays. And so it's like, oh, we can launch faster, we can turn these things around, but we can't launch as much because of the weather
Mm.
delays. I wonder how that works out in terms of, is the new thing that we need to revolutionize going to be weather resistant rockets or rockets that just have a wider range of weather conditions that they can launch in? It's all good and well if you reuse your rockets, but if you can't launch them because not only the launch weather, but also the landing zone weather has to be clear, that may just sort of shift part of the problem to another place. So it's progress, right?
The,
But
the
it
question
creates a
I'd
new
like,
problem.
yeah, the question I'd like to ask about that is it the conditions for the rocket landing, or is it the drone ship itself that can't be in a stable configuration? If it's the latter, SpaceX are we've been working towards this for a long time to put extra thrusters on
Yep.
these drone ships, but they've also the mystery drone ship, a shortfall of Gravitas, which we've never seen. We don't even know it exists, but apparently it does. Is going to be some super duper kind of like drone ship that can really cope with serious weather conditions. So, if the reason for recovery being off was the drone ship stability in the ocean in those conditions, they may be looking to mitigate that in the future.
Yep.
If it
Just make a
was
bigger drone ship.
yeah, if it was high winds or whatever, then there's nothing you can do about that. You got to do the booster part. But yeah, the latter would be something they could probably mitigate in the future.
Yeah. The other part of that is old school expendable rockets still have really long times in between launches, right?
Yeah,
So
there's
even
Delta
if a
Four.
yeah, Delta 4, yeah, right. We shall not mention that, but even if a launch is delayed for a day or two or a week because of weather in the LZ, it still is probably going to launch more often than an expendable rocket, right? Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
no, you're right. It's again, we're looking. That'd be an argument I'd expect someone in a congressional meeting to say. Well, our expendable rockets, they do launch. They have less mitigation problems with weather landing because we don't land them. We throw them in the ocean instead. And Congress going, oh, I think we'll buy some of those expendable
buy
rockets
some of those
then. They sound
expendable rockets."
great, So yeah, it's a good point, but I think reusability is always going to win through every single
Because
time. So yeah,
the trick with reusability is you could expend it if you needed to. Imagine some sort of emergency situation. You had to get this thing
Oh, yeah.
launched in this window. If the weather in the landing zone is bad, but this is some critical, like imagine emergency supplies to the ISS or something. They never get in that situation because
Right.
ISS is pretty good about planning their supplies, right?
Oh yeah,
They
big
could
time.
still launch it, and you can turn a reusable rocket into an expendable rocket anytime just by not landing it, right?
And the other thing I'd say is that I remember Elon Musk and people at SpaceX saying once they got reusability working, they still expected to lose 20 to 30% of the boosters on the drone ship landings because the drone ship landings are the harder ones.
Yep.
Bringing it back to LZs are easier, but bringing them back to drone ships is so hard. They did expect and calculated to lose 20 to 30% of the boosters, and they're bringing them all back, bar
Yep.
one or two.
They're
They're all
beating that
coming
by
back.
a long range.
Yeah, so maybe there's at least some allowance to lose a couple of boosters on purpose via an
Yep.
expendable thing. And they probably knowing SpaceX to do some kind of like re-entry and landing test on the water again, just to
Yep.
test some limits. So
We've seen like the soft landing on the water, which is still good
Yeah.
data for different
There's
conditions.
no
or
reason
whatever.
why they wouldn't say no if NASA said we really need this launch now and we can't scrub because of that condition of recovery. So
Yep.
I think there's allowances for that in the future if they need it.
Jack, blink
Yeah,
so I
they've
know
done
your
that-
video's not frozen. There we go. Okay, or say something too.
They've done that in the past too, right? Where I think Elon has even tweeted something along the lines of like, we're doing envelope expansion here. So
Yeah.
that's one of the things about SpaceX where they're able to frame what's going on in a way that even though some major news networks might be like, SpaceX loses booster, oh, it's like, no, all of us who are following along know that was an envelope expansion thing where they probably didn't even intend to get it back, and they're just gathering data. And it'll be the same thing for Starship when it launches, where if something goes wrong with SN8's launch, even if news media is like, oh, it's something, they lost the Starship, it blew up. It's all about gathering data, and they have plenty more
Yeah.
Starships where that came from, and
Yep.
it's totally fine. It's part of how they test and fly and learn. And so yeah, that expectation setting on the part of SpaceX comms team is great. And like you said, Chris, I wouldn't be surprised if there are some allowances in the future for that kind of envelope expansion type activity. I mean, it's going to have to happen one point or another, right? Whether it's for Starship or Falcon 9 or what. But we talked about it last night, and we're talking about it now again because it's one of those things where, like you said, Das, it could end up shifting the problem of launching rapidly and often to a different portion of the problem, right? It's like you get all the blue.
Yep.
Get all the blue squares on the Rubik's Cube, and then you turn it over, and you're like, "Oh, the yellow side is completely ruined," or whatever. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, but it's good. It is progress. It is progress because we can't shift to the yellow side of the Rubik's Cube until you get the blue side done. I don't know if that
Yep.
analogy follows, but yeah. So that's the thing. Good topic there.
It's the best Rubik Cube analogy I've ever heard in my life.
John Krause is
I'm
probably
using that.
doing a massive facepalm right now, but oh well, we'll deal with it.
That I like that because if you've identified the next weak point in your chain, your workflow, or whatever, you've made progress, right? It's like
Yep.
we're going to test this until something fails, and then we're going to fix that one failure, and then we're going to test it until it fails again, and figure out what the next weakest link in the chain is, right? So it's
Yep.
it's
Yeah,
still
and Das,
progress.
you know all about signal flow. I mean, you're a broadcast guy, so signal flow is all about that. It's like, okay, we have these links in the chain, and I know these links are good. Let's take this link out and replace it with an identical separate link and see. Yeah, troubleshooting.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you get it.
Just push it till it breaks and then figure out what broke and then push it till it breaks again, So it's a really interesting discussion. Oh, I actually switched away too soon. Let's switch back to this because SpaceX wrapping up CRS-21 now scheduled for tomorrow. Launch time it is 11:17 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. I believe Chris Gebhardt is still planning on rolling out there with one of our NASA spaceflight remote cameras and bringing up a broadcast from the press side or Causeway or somewhere like that. I believe he is still on the hook to go out there. So look for us tomorrow morning, probably sometime around 10:30, something like that. We usually go live like an hour before the launch. So we can do Q&A, explain what's going on and that sort of stuff. But look for us tomorrow with a live stream coverage of that. So let's see here. We're going to spend basically the entire rest of the stream talking about Boca Chica and Starship and SN8 and tests and all that sort of stuff. I think there's one other thing we got to hit before that, right? And
SLS.
that's SLS.
Yeah, because if you want to do what you're going to do, I've got one thing to say before we go to Starship.
Okay,
So,
go with SLS. Do I have a link to show for SLS?
No, you don't, because I didn't get able to put it
Okay.
in. But
All
I'm
right.
going to quickly, it'll take me 20 seconds just to note that we got an article going on tomorrow about the SLS WDR, which is wet dress rehearsal. It is the final test ahead of the static fire, which is called the green run. So tomorrow, even though NASA won't be covering it live because they don't think they need to, which is annoying, they're going to do literally fill up the core stage on the Stennis B2 test stand. So that is something to look out for as an article tomorrow, and we can now go on to Starship.
Gotcha. So I wasn't even going to go into Starship. I had one other thing that I think is very important down in Puerto Rico, Arecibo.
Oh, yeah.
That has been since the last NASA Spaceflight Live we've done, right? So this week we saw that, and I'm bringing up the video here, we saw that the telescope, the radio telescope down in Puerto Rico completely collapsed, right? And that's a big deal.
Absolutely breaks my heart. It absolutely breaks my heart. And the only mitigating circumstance to the whole thing is that nobody was hurt. Thank goodness nobody was hurt. But I mean, it really makes me sad. That's one of those places on Earth that I always wanted to go and see and experience. And I remember seeing it on Bill Nye when I was like 5 years old, or like seeing it on Reading Rainbow. Like LeVar Burton goes out to the Arecibo telescope in one of the episodes, and it's like one of those things when you're a kid, like Meteor Crater. It's like, oh man, I want to go there sometime, and think of all the science that it was doing, and it's one of the few places on planet Earth that I think that we were doing sort of SETI outreach, like looking for extraterrestrial intelligent life, and that's needle in the biggest haystack in the universe, but it's worth doing. So, and all of the other science, like good science that it was doing, and just it breaks my heart to see. And I mean, what else can you say?
It's one of those international things where, or universal things, I should say, it's probably even more apt, where you might not be into astronomy or anything like that, radio astronomy or those particular subjects, as I'm not, but you know what it is. It's instantly recognizable. And be it from seeing it in science news articles, which you always fall into when you're doing what you do, to movies. It was in GoldenEye, a James Bond film. Most famously to me, it was in Contact. And when I saw it in Contact, I wanted to go there. I wanted to visit the place. And that was so on top of a Carl Sagan book made into a movie, and using this real life footage of Arecibo. They were there filming it there. And now to know it's gone is crazy and sad.
Just hurts to look at.
I got the video. I know this is tough, especially for a lot of people who are inspired by Arecibo or is just aware of it, or of course I clicked on the
you got a coupon
where he got the notification while he was recording the video.
That makes up for it all, doesn't it?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny when I saw it on Twitter.
I apologize. I didn't have the link for that one, and I clicked on this one because I knew the source. And then I forgot that he had gotten a notification that popped up while he was recording the video. But this video was released officially by the National Science Foundation. This was the reporter who was tweeting this, getting a notification on his phone while he was screen capturing it, it looks like. So anyways.
Why would you not just delete it and re-record it?
I just scoops
with Bandicam.
Scoops, Jack, scoops. But do we have a link to the drone footage? They were inspecting some of the cables, and they had a drone up looking at one of the cables at some point. Let me see if I can grab that really quickly. I don't know.
Yeah, hang on. I'll look as well.
Yeah. If we can find that, they were inspecting stuff. They knew that it was in danger. They actually had a drone up. The camera on the drone was recording one of the cable. Let's see if we can find that really quickly and bring it up.
Props to that drone operator too, because they were not looking at the telescope. The drone was pointed sort of at where the one of the cables attached to the tower,
Yep.
and as it started to go, the person operating the drone sort of whipped the drone around and did a 180, so that the horrible events were visible. It's man, it's just sad.
It is. Here is that. And this is Scott had embedded this, but again, this was an official video released
I
by
got it.
National Science Foundation, right? The other NSF, the other lesser known NSF. Wait, this is this one. Did he cut them together? Yeah, here we go. Okay. So this is this one. A little bit zoomed in there. I'll see if I can maybe back that out some.
They're looking at the cables, not looking at the dish. The cables start to go,
Oh my gosh.
and then the drone operator whips the drone around to catch what's going on, and they just caught it just in time. It just hurts to look at. Like no destruction footage from any movie ever will ever feel as visceral, as real, or as sad as that to me. And it's crazy that we have footage of it. I mean, that's absolutely part and parcel living in 2020 is having drone footage of a piece of beloved infrastructure collapsing.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm going to see if I can go back to the beginning of that one. You can see the cable strands start to snap and the paint come off.
Yep.
Watch the cable strands and you see paint fly right there.
Yep.
And once this is like the way the structure is built, it sort of hangs in the middle and it's all balanced, everything in balance. These cables are tuned basically to hold that load up. And once one goes, the whole system just goes out of balance. And here it goes. I mean, there it went, That's tough. So in terms of Arecibo, what's going on with that? And of course, there's petitions out there to rebuild it in the same spot, build another bigger Arecibo, and all sorts of different opinions on that. Clearly no official word on what will happen. Will they do it? I do know, I did see the tweet from NSF, from National Science Foundation, saying that the researchers that work there are continuing to work. There's still lots of data processing that has to happen, even though it's no longer actively gathering data. It doesn't mean that they've done or that there's nothing for those employees to do. But the future of that is going to be something that I know we're all going to be looking out for, because a lot of us, it's like an 8th, 9th, 10th wonder of the world. The fact that we
Yep.
have this hollowed out canyon that we built a big reflector in, and we put scientific instruments at the top so that we can look out into the rest of the universe and gather this information from the rest of the universe by building something like this. You don't get these at the convenience store. There's not a lot of these around. It's a massive undertaking that lasted more than 50 years, right? Somebody can tell me exactly how many years. I don't know if it's like from the day they started building or the day that it was actually commissioned or the first day it got a signal back, like first light sort of thing. But in any event, it's a big deal. I wanted to hit on that just really quickly before we spent
No,
the
good
rest
call.
of the stream. 57 years or something like that, Antoine says in chat.
And it
Yeah.
even if they don't, like you said, there's petitions to restore it or build it again or what have you. Even if it never functions as a scientific instrument again, I think it would be a real shame to not sort of use what's still there and maybe restore it to a state where it could be a museum and like an education center for school kids and whatnot, and turn it into something that could still serve a function. I don't know, but who knows what's next for it, but
Yeah.
hopefully it finds another life one way or another. That's just so sad.
Right now, it looks like a location you would explore in Fallout. Like one of the abandoned infrastructures after
Yeah.
an apocalyptic sort of event, all sort of fallen down and stuff like that. It's a video game reference. If you've ever played Fallout, it looks like the sort of place that you would go through and see, just because we don't have a lot of big projects like this that have fallen, not even into disrepair like that. But anyways, let us move on and continue on with our other topics. Were those all the things we were doing? I mean, we covered CRS 21. We talked about Hayabusa coming back with a sample. We talked about Arecibo. We mentioned SLS. Were there any other non-Starship topics before we literally just use the rest of the stream for Starship?
No, Cyberpunk 2077 we could do. Looking forward to that.
There you go. All right.
Moon landing.
Oh, the moon landing, the Chinese moon lander as well.
Yep.
That was another thing too. Do we have? We'll see if we can grab a link for that too. That was a big deal.
Super. Yeah, super cool. First moon landing, and I don't even what since Apollo. No, no, not since Apollo, but since a long time.
The thing
Yeah.
I like to bring up is people when they see these things from China, these great achievements. Let's face it, there's no two ways about it. It's a great achievement. They all start panicking, thinking they're going to overtake the USA. They are a long way away, you know. They really are. They only just worked out in the last 5 years how to do rendezvous with their space station modules. So they're a long way off yet. The thing is, they can do things like this pretty much cheaply because the cheap costs involved for them, and get some nice successes out of it and some nice flag waving out of it, as everyone does. But they are a long way off competing with NASA and what NASA do. So when people see these achievements, just take it as an achievement and say, well done, rather than thinking, oh, they're going to overtake the USA. They're not,
Yeah,
they're a long way behind.
I don't understand the overtaking aspect of people's thinking. I mean, why not think, yay, another nation is collecting moon rocks? I mean,
Yeah,
it's the same as if you are a fan of rockets and a fan of spaceflight, and another spaceflight company comes along, you shouldn't think like, boo, like this is bad for SpaceX. You should just think, yay, expanded access to space. So
Let,
this is
let, let
a
me bring this up. Let me bring this up, Jack. Both myself and Chris G got a bit of abuse on Twitter for daring to congratulate or sound even optimistic or even, you know, positive about this. One of the people replying to me was saying you should not be covering this program. You should be negative about it at the very least because of the Chinese government or whatever. And his location was Serbia. So, you know, thinking, pot kettle black. So I don't know why people get on Twitter and get all rowdy about it. It's space flight. It's about everybody. So we should all get behind it.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, it is still an accomplishment, and it's the same sort of thing. You know, we get this sort of, I'll say it, we get this sort of view of SLS sometimes, where it's like, oh, SLS is such a waste,
Yeah.
da 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 da. Like you get people that just have all sorts of negative opinions, founded with all sorts of information on the side. I'm not going to get into that, but there are still people behind these things, right? There are engineers and there's scientists and there's the people running the missions, and it's still a big accomplishment for those people, even if 18 levels above them there are different things going on. It is still a huge achievement for the men and women that are involved with a project like this, right?
yeah, you can think
So,
what you want about any other country's government, but we're all humans. No matter what, we're all human. Like we should celebrate human accomplishment one way or the other.
yeah. So that is, I mean, I just have this is a static image showing the samples inside, but it's already landed on the moon. There's video of it, and it's already launched again, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. It's already headed back,
Yeah.
right?
It was already supposed to, it was either on its way to rendezvous or already had rendezvoused. I hadn't got the most recent update on exactly where that was. But that is another thing that will bring some science back for us. From the moon, we'll get some more samples. I mean, we've got samples coming back from asteroids with JAXA. We've got this coming back from the moon. Just all sorts of exciting stuff going on. So that was that. Did I miss anything else? Anything else? Did it already make it? I'm trying to figure out. I think some people maybe discuss like changing Hayabusa, which is already safely on the ground, versus this one. Did this sample already come back, or were y'all talking about Hayabusa? And I said, it's on its way back. Well, maybe I meant it was in the truck because it's already landed. I don't know. Some people are like screaming about something. Oh, yeah, geez.
I think
Anyways,
they're talking about the JAXA capsule, which has already landed. We've seen it. We're waiting for a photograph of it first. When we see a photograph tweeted about it, that'll be the next update we want to hear about.
yeah, we were talking about that earlier, waiting for the next thing. We showing the re-entry plasma trail, I think was the video that we had earlier. So without further ado, I think we go on to Starship SN8. Everybody, especially this guy who's down in Texas from California. Jack, how you doing? I mean, I know the slips are rough out there. You've been out there for what, a week?
Yeah, yeah. We left California on Friday. So we left a week and a day ago. We got to Boca on Sunday morning. So we're coming up on a week in Boca. I mean, I'm not going to complain because I like being here and I like being near Starship, and it's still crazy to me that we can just drive down the road next to the production facility or drive down the beach next to the launch site. Um, I mean, I absolutely love it here. That said, and I'm not complaining, there's other things that I'd really like to shoot. There's some stuff in California coming up that I'd like to shoot. There is, I think there's a Virgin Galactic launch coming up from New Mexico. That if everything lines up with Starship, hopefully on my way back to California, I can swing through New Mexico and catch that Virgin Galactic launch. But yeah, I mean, Starship. We have seen so many. It's going to launch tomorrow. It's going to launch 2 days from now. It's going to launch 3 days from now. It's going to launch tomorrow again. It really is this time. Now it's going to launch next week. Now it's going to launch 2 weeks from now. So it's the situation is ever changing. And yeah, I would be lying if I said I didn't really, really, really want it to launch as soon as possible, because it's, I mean, at this point, SN8 is holding things up. SN9 is ready to go. I mean,
Is ready
I
to
don't know.
go.
I don't know that for, you know, for certain or anything, but it's certainly, the nose cone has been stacked for several days now, and they did some tests where they lifted it onto that new crawler transporter they made, and rolled it around the build site, kind of wiggled it around a little bit. So it seems like as soon as the launch site is clear, they'll move 9 down. And like I said, yeah, eight's basically holding stuff up at this point. So I want it to go. I'm sure a lot of people at SpaceX want it to go. Whether or not it lands successfully or not, we all know that's not the measure of a successful test for this
Yep.
vehicle. Though, of course, if it did land successfully, that would be icing on the cake. But more than anything, at this point, I feel like they need to just get it done, get it tested, learn their lessons, and move on to the next thing.
Yeah. I mean, I've been so early this morning. I was working on some of our robotic cameras. There's no secret. We've deployed robotic cameras around there. And I was working on them this morning. And while I was working on the feed, I spooled up another stream, right? You know how we have Fleet Cam, the 24/7 views of Port Canaveral? I
Yep.
spooled up one of our robots from South Padre Island. And it was beautiful this morning. I said, I should have the picture of that somewhere to bring up. You'd think that I'd have that handy somewhere. It was absolutely beautiful this morning. And so I said, wow, I should share this with everybody else. And let me bring up the live feed really quickly here.
Yeah. If you watched the stream yesterday, you might remember us saying that we
Oh,
had
yeah.
planned today to do a similar live stream from Boca Chica, so that we could do the whole NASA spaceflight Boca Chica live, show you people working on Starship, talk about it. But the
Yep.
weather today, I'm sure you're about to show us, it started off good, but yeah, look at that. Looks nice, right? Looks like
Well,
a nice
it
day.
looks nice. Yeah, I've got the camera over at the beach real quick. This is a live view. I'm pulling this feed in off the robotic camera, unattended, mounted out at South Padre Island. It's not a permanent camera or anything like this. This is actually the same camera that we used for Crew 1. We had this over at the Cape, and it was at the Cape for a couple different launches, and then Chris G at the Cape packed it up and sent it down to South Padre Island. But it was a beautiful view this morning, and so I said, oh, let's share this with everybody. And why is it on the beach right now? It's like, wait, this is a Starship stream. Why is it pointing at the waves? Well, because here's what the Starship looks like. Stand by for just 1 second.
I thought you
Is
were
this
going to
Vandenberg?
suggest that's where Starship's going to land.
That's where the
the
pieces
same
of Starship are going to wash up. That's why I was pointing it that way.
Gosh,
So
I didn't
this
know we
is-
had a camera at Vandenberg now.
I know, right?
Yeah.
This is the live view about 6 miles away from the Starship test site from South Padre Island. Camera's about 120 feet up in the air, and it is looking out over Starship, where Starship is supposed to be. And all day long, except for right when I started the stream, you could see it right at the beginning. It was a beautiful sunrise. And as soon as I turned on the camera, this is what we've been looking at all day. We saw a cool ship come in earlier, but this has been just one of those things. You spool it up. So weather, in terms of how weather may affect SN8. This is what it is right now. I can't even, well, I could bring up a feed of it, but I'm not. This is
We
what
have
we've been,
secrets.
yes, we're not playing all our cards. This is what it looks like right now. This is what it looks like most of the day. I've been hoping that it clears up, watching the weather radar, all that sort of stuff. And what are we looking at? I mean, clearly it's not going anywhere today. We're not aware of any testing today. Are we going to get
No
anything
road
going on
closures.
tomorrow? We still have
There's road closures tomorrow, I think, what, from noon to at like 8 p.m. or 6 p.m. or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the plan currently is, but there is a road closure tomorrow.
Yeah, the
I
latest
think that
information I've got is the road closure is from noon until 6 p.m. tomorrow. And if I'm not mistaken, but when I started setting up for this stream, the FAA actually had a TFR in place that would support all or some of
yep,
that window. So
yep.
I
So
think,
there could be a flight attempt tomorrow, but I mean we've seen it change last minute so many times that we'll see if tomorrow ends up going. But right now, I guess tomorrow is the day.
What makes me think is that they've been struggling with weather to get a lot of the processing done ahead of this flight, and today's been rain all day,
yep.
and you can see the conditions. So I think if I was a betting man, I'd say definitely Monday at the earliest.
Yeah, that's a good point, Chris. I mean, just the weather out there, the pixelization, I guess. Stand by.
That's some sweet
The
data moshing.
Yeah, geez, what is this, Minecraft? The weather out there may have hindered their preparations. So even though we've got road closures and we've got TFRs in support of a potential thing tomorrow, just looking at what they've been dealing with all day out there may mean that tomorrow not particularly realistic. But we still have spots on Monday as well, don't we?
Yeah,
Yeah, Monday and
big
Tuesday.
long window on Monday.
Yeah. That RV park is my retirement plan. Nice, Mike. That would be a pretty
Yeah,
sweet place.
I just responded to him in chat and said, "Good plan."
Oh, but I guess I don't have the stream up right quick. I'll bring up the view. I'm putting the camera back on the beach, right? But let me bring up really quickly the photo from this morning. This is the reason I spooled this up, and I'm just gonna have to grab it really quickly. Scroll, 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 scroll. Oh yeah, that's right. I tweeted it. That's right. Here, we could just go this
oh
way.
yeah, you did before and after.
I tweeted that with my hands in my face like this. I tweeted it out after I started the stream. Let's see here. There's some tweets. Bring that up. Ah, yes. So this was the view this morning. Well, this is the tweet at least, right? And when I was spooling up the camera so that I could share this fantastic view with everybody, it looked like this. It's fantastic. It's the same camera we were just looking at. And not 20 or 30 minutes after starting the stream today, this morning, this is around what, 8 local time, 8:30 local time. And it's been
So
like this all
good,
day. From this
so good.
that I
I
wanted
know.
people to be able to watch all day while we all hung out and talked about Starship. And this
Awesome
is
science fiction image to Vandenberg.
it's like flip it open, flip it closed.
Did people
Flip
forget
it
to
open,
shout enhance
flip it
in
closed.
chat?
Yeah, yeah, the enhance. Oh,
Enhance.
jeez. So, anyways, we're still standing by for the launch. We look at TFRs, we look at road closures, we use all sorts of information, weather observations. What's it going to be like tomorrow? What's it going to be like Monday? What looks like there's a ton of things around the pad working on it? Is the pad all clear? Looking like there's only one guy with a wrench finalizing it. We're watching all sorts of different stuff. If anything interesting happens tomorrow, I guarantee you we will point cameras at it, but it may not be too hopeful for tomorrow, even though all that stuff stays in place, right, y'all?
Yep.
Yeah, there's roadblocks. There's a process now we follow when we know they're getting closer to something, be it testing or whatever. Where there's roadblocks, we see the sheriff, we see the sheriff cars, we have the people in our member Discord go Texas car counters who check the pad for cars, and they can count down how many cars are left there. The
Yep.
pad goes clear, we start thinking about okay, something's happening. Then you get the tank farm starts venting, the grass venting. We get the condenser venting on. We know they're going to start fueling. They start fueling. We get venting. We get tri-venting. We get the police siren. We get ignition.
There's like spreadsheets involved now.
Yeah, it literally is just like that. So it's almost you can do it in your sleep now. We know the routine they're going to take, but yeah, I honestly don't. Well, for a start, we'll know if they're not launching because they won't ask Mary and the likes to leave where they are.
Right.
So that's the big key thing there. You can have alerts, you can have like the siren alerts. They don't do that for a launch because we don't want to do a siren for. So that's when we know the difference between a static fire test, say, or be it natural launch itself.
Yep. Jack, I brought this up real quick because you actually used the clouds to your advantage. This was yesterday evening, wasn't it?
Yeah, after we wrapped up our live stream, I was all ready to drive home, and it was like starting to drizzle a little bit, and this weather was rolling in, and thankfully Lauren, my girlfriend, was like, "Hey, look, there's a giant starship in the clouds," and it was really crazy to see. There was actually multiple ones from multiple different point sources of light
Wow.
around the vehicle. Like if you were looking at this and you turned your body like 90 degrees to the right, there was another one from a different angle that didn't have the same flap sort of shadow. And yeah, it was really really surreal to see that. And I'm hoping it does it again tonight since there will be low clouds and I might be headed back out to the launch site. I was up
Yeah.
there earlier today just to sort of scope things out for NASA Spaceflight Live, and yeah, it was no bueno, like hard rain
Yeah.
all morning. So I know Mary was out there shooting some stuff for the daily video, which I will be editing here shortly. So she's absolutely a trooper for being out there in that weather. I noped out pretty hard. So
Yeah. So just to explain, make sure everybody understands what this is. This is actually the shadow of SN8 on the clouds above it, right? They have
yep.
spotlights on the ground pointing up. Help us explain what this is, Jack. Like, what exactly were you seeing?
Yeah, so they've installed classic launch lighting at the launch site, the xenon lights. If you don't know what a xenon light is, it's an extremely high intensity type of light bulb where the light bulbs themselves are like grenades. Like you need to be very very careful when you change a xenon bulb, because if you drop one or break one, it can shatter explosively. They're crazy. Um, but they're very high intensity, and when you're driving up to a launch site and you see the rocket all super illuminated from a huge distance, those are the kind of
Yep.
lights they're using. Often tens and tens and tens of thousands of watts of that type of lighting, and so I suspect that's what this is. And it was just Starship is all lit up, and there's a low cloud deck and xenon. I'm saying
Xenon.
xenon. My
I
bad.
do
Yeah,
that all
my
the
bad.
time because of servers, but whatever.
Yeah. Oh, my brain. It's deteriorating. Ah,
It's all
I'm
good,
like
Jack.
I'm gonna start doing Hal from 2001 and singing Daisy. Um, no, seriously though. So yeah, it's low cloud deck, shadow of Starship, high intensity light. It looked cool. The next shot over is just me trying to get the Land Rover in frame, but it was really challenging to do given. I mean, I needed the widest angle lens that I had. What are you doing? Uh
I'm
oh.
I'm drawing it. Look, I'm illustrating. Fence here, and
Yeah.
got the
Yeah.
back fin bits. Got to draw them right. Test
Accurate.
stand, whatever.
That's a
Is
bingo
that good?
card
Yeah.
thing, by
Okay.
the way. Daz draws on screen.
Light. Yes. Look. See. Bingo. If anybody got a bingo, it's literally this is a spotlight, by the way, right? I'm trying to
Yep.
draw a spotlight there, and then this is SN8 on the test stand, and it's casting a shadow on the clouds above because the lights sort of point up at it, right? So, all right, I've got my telestration out of my system for the stream. There you go. That's what's going on there. Hey, Jack, you were saying the next one was the Land Rover in the shot. There you
Yep.
go.
And once again, thank you to everybody who contributed to my GoFundMe a few months back, who helped me get my Land Rover repaired after my catalytic converters were stolen. Because of you, this photograph and all of the photographs that I've been taking on this trip were possible because I've been driving all around looking for cool spots and cool angles. And absolutely thank you to everybody so much. Thank you for all of your support. It's been really truly heartwarming and outstanding.
Yeah. Jack, thank you for being out there and helping capture all this stuff. I mean, it's a drive for you, right? It's a
Yeah, and
serious drive for you.
I'm doing it because I like doing it, right? And I feel extremely thankful to be able to do something that I like to do, like this, and help bring Starship to the rest of the world. It's an absolute honor and a pleasure, and I can't thank our members enough. All of our members, all of ours, everyone that super chats, everybody that supports what we do. It's so amazing. Thank you so much because, I mean, like we were talking about, I've been here a week so far, and expenses rack up. So and as it delays, things cost more, and you spend more on gas or on living expenses or on camera rentals. Oh God, my camera rental.
Extending the Airbnb or
Yeah,
whatever, all the
yeah,
different
exactly.
things.
So yeah, it's definitely not it's not nothing, and your support absolutely makes it possible. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'm actually going to let's bring up the latest daily video, and I'm going to let the latest daily video roll here. And I'm going to read some super chats because you're talking about we're able to do this because of people's support. And it is 53 minutes into the stream, and I have not read a single super chat. That is on me. So, Andre from earlier, thank you for the 50 Jax looks like he's on a war zone. Nice, Jack. You look like you're in a war zone, apparently. We appreciate the support there, Andre, a longtime supporter. Also, Chris B, you should be checking some stuff. Apparently, I'm supposed to text you something real quick. Moldy Space Industries over there, Moldy Space Industries saying, I heard there was a certain birthday at NSF today. Happy birthday. That's right. Don't we have a NSF staff member birthday?
Yep, it's Chris G's birthday.
Yeah. Chris Gebhardt, you've seen him on all sorts of different live streams. In fact, SpaceX not giving him a launch for his birthday. CRS-21 slipping past his birthday. He was going to go out to the Cape and watch a rocket launch earlier until that slipped till tomorrow. So put a happy birthday into chat for Chris G. Multispace, thanks so much for tossing the $5 in there as well. We appreciate the support. Again, I'm just rolling the daily video. This is the latest daily video in the background here. We'll put that link in chat if y'all want to get caught up and, rewind it and pause it and that sort of thing. Here's another one from Andre right here. Anticipated
when you finish this, just let me know because I've got something to say after this.
Okay, this was from Andre as well, and it says, anticipated my SN8 donation. Merry Christmas, NSF team. Das, buy more cameras, is what this says.
On that subject, Andrea sent us a donation separately, which we can't mention too much on YouTube because I don't like it. And I will tell everyone in the team when we finish the stream what it is, but it's the biggest donation we've ever had.
Really?
Whoa.
Yeah. So we want a big thank you to Andre for that. I don't want to read the total out just in case he doesn't want me to, or if his wife's listening.
Right.
But that's the biggest one we've ever had.
Wow.
I'll get to the team later.
Andre is an absolutely huge supporter of this stream and just a good guy. And I'm biased here, obviously, but seriously, like the other day or the other week, Chris, you saw this. Chris B was like on the sidelines of this one. We were arguing about Shuttle because I saw somebody say Buran was better than Shuttle, which I cannot abide by. I'm sorry. It was not better. Maybe they were equal, but they were not. One was not better than the other. Anyways, I digress. Point being, we were arguing about Shuttle in Discord, and Andre was basically debating with me over whether or not the Air Force was responsible for ruining it. And I really, 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 really appreciate the ability to have vigorous discussions.
Yeah,
but
passionate discussion.
Exactly. Thank you. Passionate discussions, but not like arguing or yelling or belittling or any of that. Just stating your, the facts that you have at hand and what your viewpoint is. And I will say that Andre changed my viewpoint, and I no longer will unequivocally state that the U.S. Air Force ruined the space shuttle. I will now a more nuanced version of that, and I will say the Air Force, Congress, NASA, and various other factors conspired to ruin the space shuttle. But as part of that whole debate, he sent me a really wonderful gift, I guess, of a set of books about the space shuttle.
Oh,
and
cool!
It's absolutely, it's a massive tome. I mean, it's seriously huge. I'm trying to. It's like I can't remember the title off the top of my head, but either way, Andre, I know I'm gonna freak out already whenever I find out.
Well, I'm going to tell you what it is because he's just said his wife's not listening, so we're allowed to mention it. He has sent direct to the company account, which is we're doing now. We're only it's like PayPal. You don't got to get charged like 1.5% rather than the 30% on YouTube. He sent $1,000.
What the?
No kidding.
No,
in one transaction.
One transaction.
That's.
Yeah, I know. That's too. What do you say to that?
Remember when I was talking about the NSF robot army? Do you remember that conversation?
Yeah.
I mean, Andre, thank you so much. I don't even know. I mean, Jack, go ahead and be broken.
I'm broken. I don't know. I'm speechless because the time it takes me to earn $1,000 isn't a significant amount of time. I mean, I'm talking weeks here. So, yeah, Andre, thank you for engaging in civil discourse and passionate discussion and being a valued member of our member Discord, and for being a member and for supporting what we do and everything that we do and being our new official all-time highest
Yeah.
donor in a single donation. I think we might have some others who are around that same amount from a bunch of super chats over time. Maybe even you
Yeah.
yourself might have equaled that with a bunch of super chats over time. Big ones too. But yeah, and we've got some breaking news. Sounds like I don't want to cut myself off from thanking Andre too quickly. Thank you, Andre.
It is. You're right.
But
But we do have breaking news from Boca Chica.
yes, this is actually kind of huge news. Do you want to read it or do you want me to?
I can certainly read it. Can we display that? Chris B? Those usually
What
get
we're looking
posted,
at
don't
control
they?
center.
Yeah. Check for us real quick. I think we're clear. I just want to make sure. I'm reading it as well.
Yes, we can.
Okay, we're clear. We're clear to show that. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure on that, y'all.
I don't know if we're clear to show, but I'm clear to read it out.
Okay, read it out. I want to show it. We'll just read it out.
Right, Mary's got an alert notice, which she gets. It says that SpaceX is going to do spaceflight activities on December the 6th, which is tomorrow. Is it tomorrow?
Right?
Yeah, it's
That's
tomorrow.
tomorrow. Yep,
So
that's
I don't know
tomorrow.
what day of the week it is these days. It's approximately 10 minutes before they'll get a siren. The siren is for the locals to be warned of an overpressure event in case of a failure, which means they expect people to be in a village, which means there's not a launch tomorrow. There's
Oh.
no launch tomorrow. They're expected to try and use the window on Sunday to do a test. That test may never happen, but that proves there is no launch tomorrow. They're keeping the people in the village. They're not evacuating the village, I should say.
Gotcha. I'm going to repeat what you just said, slightly different, so everybody understands the gravity of this. We were talking about the FAA had a TFR in place, the flight restriction saying planes can't fly over. That's good news for maybe the flight happening, right? And we were talking about road closures. That's good as well. But the latest information we just got from Mary, Boca Chica gal in the village, is one of those alert notices. And they carry the piece of paper around, and I think it's the sheriff's deputies that actually deliver these pieces of paper to the residents. And the pieces of paper tell the residents to exit their home after they hear a siren. Y'all know the 10-minute siren. We're like, oh my gosh, it's the siren. The sheriff's driving around. And it's a huge deal for us. By the way, that says SN16. Just going to say. But it's a huge deal. The siren is a huge deal, right? And so Mary got a piece of paper warning her not to be in her house tomorrow 10 minutes after she hears the siren. If they were doing a flight, Mary wouldn't be in her house to hear a siren and need to come outside. So the fact that SpaceX has delivered that notice, anticipating the residents of Boca Chica Village being in their houses, means that SpaceX isn't asking them to leave their houses and go even further away, because we know the exclusion zone for the actual flight is a lot bigger than the exclusion zone for just the static fire, pre-burner, fuel tanks, wet dress rehearsals, whatever, right? That's the importance of that document. Did I make that very clear to everybody? Like, does everybody understand what I was trying to explain there?
Yeah, that makes sense to
thought-
me. And we were even talking about this earlier, right? We were saying the difference between knowing when they're going to fly and when they're not is when we know that Mary has been asked to leave versus when she gets an alert notice. And because no one will be there when they fly, there won't be an alert notice for them. So
Right.
an alert notice is indicative of non-flight, counterintuitively.
I would just back it up with people in chat. I've got to quickly mention this.
Sure.
Is that on chat that we are talking about Sunday that they're looking to do this test, but the launch is still or will be net Monday. They're not launching tomorrow, but it doesn't rule out Monday. So just be careful on thinking this means multiple day delay. It doesn't. It just means it's going to be delayed at least till Monday.
Right. Gotcha. So yeah, good call there, Chris. We're talking about there may be a test tomorrow, but because the residents will be allowed to be in the village, that test is not a flight.
Yep.
Gotcha.
That's right.
Yeah, it is not launching tomorrow. That's what we're saying. The piece of paper that Mary was delivered is a pretty darn good, like I'd say 99.9999% that it is not launching tomorrow. Just because I wouldn't say 100%, because who knows what's going to happen.
Mary's just tweeted it.
Mary's
tweeted
it? The photo of the alert notice, yep.
Ah, good deal.
I wasn't sure if I could put it on the stream or not, so Mary's just made a decision for us. She's tweeted it out, so that's
absolutely.
Great.
always better to, because we do get some stuff sometimes that we can't
How
show
do you know these things? Are you making it up?
Yeah. Oh, you didn't know, haha. And it's like,
what's the source?
We said that for a reason.
Source.
But here,
like to be very clear when we know something and when we're just speculating. So you should take that we do that for a reason.
We do. A lot of times when we say stuff, we have reason to sort of lead you in a direction. Let's put it that way. So this is Mary. I put the link to the tweet in chat. It says, just received an alert notice for tomorrow for Starship SN8 testing. SpaceX will conduct spaceflight activities on December 6th from 8 a.m. to 5:30. Typically, we receive these notices prior to pre-burner, a static fire, no hop tomorrow, is what Mary said. And here, you can read it yourself if you click on that link in the tweet. This is the actual notice that she got. And when this notice gets delivered to the door, it's because they expect the residents to be there. Expect the residents to be there means they're not asking them to leave the village because of a hop. So, all right. How does that make everyone feel?
I'm
I
fine with it.
mean-
You know what? I'm used to SLS. I'm used to shuttle. I'm used to things like that where it take years and months and whatever to do anything. And we're talking about days now. And it's not just that, the fact that they're getting this. I think they're using the right methodology with this, where they're not hitting a launch button and going for it when they could do, because they've got SS9 just down the road. But at the same time, I'm thinking of Jack and all the people out there. I think let's just hope for Monday, shall we say?
Yeah.
Because we don't want it to drag on too long for those guys.
Yeah.
I
mean,
mean, I want to
it's
shoot. I want to shoot Virgin Galactic. I really, I want to catch that. I
Yeah.
think that's supposed to be I think maybe the 11th or something. I saw online or something, sometime around there. So, yeah, I'm hoping that that things line up and it goes. But it is important to note that this is not an operational rocket. This is a test program, a development program, and for all the grumbling that I could do, I mean, this is the oh man, this is the bag of worms I decided to stick my hand in. Is that a phrase? I don't
bag
know.
of worms.
It's
I
a
don't
good one.
know. I don't know.
I'm gonna
My
use
brain
it.
is turning to mush. But yeah, so this is I've made my bed, right? I'm going to lay in it. So I'm not complaining. This is a test program, and test programs need to be rigorous, and you're not going to just test to push the button and get rid of it, although we joke about that potentially being a motivation at this point.
Yep.
Yeah, they're going to test when they're ready to test, and all things are in their appropriate place, and I for one am just happy we are at a point where it seems like exclusion zone issues are being worked, and they are able to secure a TFR from the FAA at this point. I mean, when I left Los Angeles, there was no TFR yet, and I had been telling myself for weeks at that point, don't leave until there's a TFR. Don't leave until there's a TFR. But
Yep.
at a certain point, you get go fever, and you think, what if they just get it? What if they get a TFR same day, and I'm not there, or something like that? So, but
Yeah.
now we're at the point where we're making progress, and it does stink every time it slips a day or two, because we want to see it. We want to see the future happen. But it's a test program, and it's important to remember that. And so whatever test that they do tomorrow, indicative of, or that this notice is indicative of, whether it's a static fire or another tanking test or a pre-burner or what, hopefully that test tomorrow gives them good data, and they can progress to a flight sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Jack, I'll say I feel for you because I've been in the position with just operational launches, like supply launches going to the ISS. I'll drive up to Antares. I'll drive down for a SpaceX launch. For me to get down to Cape Canaveral is, I'm going to say, just 8 hours, right? And then you get a hotel room, you got expenses down there, you got other things you could be doing back home to make money, pay the bills, yada, yada, yada. And then you're out there and then it slips a day and you're like, well, I already came all the way down here. I'm not going to go home and miss it. All right. And then the next day, okay, well, now it slipped 2 days. And well, hey, I'm down here. I might as well, but the expenses keep piling up. The frustration keeps piling up. The opportunity costs to go and do other things, right? Where you could go off and do something else while you're waiting on this. For operational missions, supply missions to the ISS, launches there aren't even experimental test program. You run into that when you're chasing those launches, whether you just want to see one or whether you're taking photos, videos, we doing live streams, whatever. To chase a test program, an experimental test program like this, 8 hours for me down to the Cape. What, you're like 19 hours from California to Boca?
It's a 24-hour drive.
24.
That's if you literally were in the car driving at 75
Just
miles an hour for 24 hours. So because humans can't do that, and you need to stop every so often for bathroom, gas, food, sanity, just to like get out, stretch your legs, and not fall asleep. I mean, if you are at the right rest area at the right time, you will see a Land Rover pull up, a guy get out in an orange hoodie, and then just run laps back and forth. Like, it's the thing. You got to wake yourself up sometimes.
Yep.
So yeah, but so all told, a 24-hour drive, including stops, including like 4 hours of sleep here and there in a rest area. It takes me usually about 36 hours, a little over 2
Wow.
days.
Yeah,
Or a
because you
little
gotta
under
you
2
gotta
days.
stop and eat. You gotta stop and use the restroom, get rest and stuff. Even if you're cannonballing it with 2 different drivers switching off, it's still.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
I appreciate you going all the way down there, and I hope you're able to witness it. I'm not gonna say I hope they launch it because they need to launch it when they're ready to launch it, but I hope that the stars align and you're able to be down there for it. Also, because you're
Yeah.
providing us another remote camera feed, so
Yeah, all the pieces are in place. So now we just gotta be like that cat in the motivational posters and just hang in there.
just hang in there. Never give up. The frog that's grabbing
Yeah.
the stork's neck or whatever.
Yeah, there
Um,
you go. So, but yeah, it's honestly like you're talking about with operational launches. If this was a Delta Heavy or a Falcon 9 or an Atlas or anything else, I would I think maybe not justifiably, but I would potentially be more salty about
Sure.
delays, right? But again, this is a test program, and I just got to keep telling myself this is developmental work. This is highly new and extremely touchy test equipment, and they've never flown with a nose cone on. They've never flown to this height. They've never flown with 3 Raptors. So you sort of just kind of have to expect the worst and hope for the best. So
Yep.
that's where we're at. I'm trying real hard to not be salty about it because again, this is the bed that I made. I'm going to lay in it, and I like the seat of your pants nature of Starship. I really do. It's completely different than operational rockets, and which I also love absolutely. But you know me. One of my favorite things to do is to photograph aircraft flying around in California, low level, and that's the same kind of thing. It's like the thrill of the hunt. So
Yeah.
If Starship was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Yep.
But it's not. It's extremely hard. So I'll take it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm gonna read some more super chats here really quickly, and I want to get through some questions as well.
Yeah, we should do. I was gonna say we should do questions.
We should, yeah. I mean, you know how it is. There's then breaking news all of a sudden, something new to share, et cetera, et cetera. That's why we do these
The-
shows live. Art Jokia, thank you so much for the €5 there. How big will the explosion be when SN8 crashes? I don't know. It'll be a big explosion. It may be a pretty big pressure wave if it hits the ocean or the land. If there's a lot of fuel left in it, depending on what phase of flight, something may go wrong. There may be a fireball or something like that. But we appreciate the €5 there, Art. Boom, baby Chase. SN8 might just be a very expensive firework. We'll see. One way or other, they'll get some good data out of it. That's for sure. Nick Salve
Coolest
says,
firework ever.
yeah, right. Nick Salve says, thanks for an educational stream as always. We appreciate you, Nick, for the support. Y'all can tell the monitor that I read these off of is way up here. Spacing Out. Spacing Out says, here's $2.47 for Blue Apron. Thanks.
It's because the ad on the Arecibo telescope thing was a Blue Apron ad.
Okay.
I don't know why
I got you. That one went.
but I do.
Gotcha. Appreciate the support there. KCJ Bomber, thank you. No C as well was in there. Jose Antonio Sanchez Imbert says, very nice Q&A. Congrats. Thank you for the euros there. Jose, we've got High Desert Garden. Do we have a date for the next hop? We just talked about that. Alert notice on the screen right now indicates we do not expect a hop tomorrow,
That means
Monday.
SN9.
Wait, what?
That's mean SN9 because got to remember the one thing about this SN8 test is that as soon as SN8 is either back on landing pad or in the ocean or wherever, they can roll out SN9 within days.
Oh,
We
it's
could
waiting.
be seeing an SN9 launch within 2 weeks.
God.
So that's a big thing for me.
Yeah, I fully expect 9 to pull a 6, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
5 was on the pad for a long time and finally flew. I think it was on the pad for like a month, and then pretty much immediately thereafter, within the same month, 6 was rolled out and launched. So I fully expect 9 to roll out much faster than 5 or than, oh my god, than 8 did, and hopefully launch much faster. Numbers, right? So many numbers. We need to start naming these things and putting nose art on them.
But
Yep.
nose art would be cool. Nose art would be cool. I'm going to run more super chats here. So earliest we would expect a hop attempt for SN8 is Monday right now, based on what we've got here. Let's see here. Kavarvar said, well, no message on that one, but appreciate the support. Adrian Beal says, for the NSF gas and camera rent fund. We appreciate you, Adrian. Thanks for that one. Art Jokia says, why did they change to 12.5 kilometers instead of 15 kilometers? We mentioned that earlier, but I don't think we talked about it in depth. Do we have any? There's no official word is the problem, right? Do we have any
No.
guesses as to why they changed the hop height? It used to be 20, didn't it?
Yeah, but they brought it down for certain reasons we're not too aware about. But they thought obviously it was more achievable test flight regime, but they've reduced by 2.5 kilometers because the wind conditions are expected over these coming days at that altitude. So it gives it a better chance of successfully completing that flip across the belly flop and then coming back down for the control. So that's the only reason for it, really. But it's not official. We wait.
Yeah.
Elon's gone very quiet about Starship for the past few days, which is not like him.
Yeah, you're
But
right. He is.
yeah, we would like a tweet from him at some point to maybe say something, and then we can say it's official because that's the only official way we're getting any information about Starship.
Yep.
SpaceX POA is not doing anything about it at the moment. They all leave it to Elon, but they maybe be doing something during the actual day itself. So we'll find out more then.
Yep. Gotcha. Let's see here. And I've got, oh yeah, here we go. Don Rubottom asks, where's Jack staying? At a condo at SBI or a tent on the beach? You're back up in Brownsville, aren't you? A little bit more affordable in Brownsville, right?
Yep, I like Brownsville. I mean, I like SPI too. They're all good, but I choose to stay in Brownsville usually. Um, it's just I don't know, and I also because of COVID and everything, I don't really want to be staying in a major hotel or around other people because then there's
Right.
temptation to like socialize and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm in Brownsville at an Airbnb. It's the same Airbnb I always stay at because I found one that I really liked, and the host is awesome and accommodates me changing reservation dates all the time, and
Yeah.
they know I'm here for SpaceX stuff, and they know all about SpaceX, and they go out and watch the launches and stuff too. So I really like this spot, and I'm not going to tell you where it is because then you would rent it.
Yeah, don't do that. Security there. We got one from Igor as well. Igor saying €5 for Jack's cat. Dude, where's your cat? You're on the road
Not
for over
here.
a week. It's
So we
got
have
a
one of
family
our
friend.
one of our roommates is staying and hanging out with the cat and sending us
Okay.
photos daily. B is currently she's an upside down cat by nature. She just lives flomped on her back. So every day we just get a picture of her in a different flomp position, and it's adorable. So she's good. She's full of tuna. Don't worry about B.
And here is the last one in the queue from Attila Barigi. I'm going to go with, hey, I'm curious why they do the skydive belly flop thing instead of a booster style landing sequence. Raptor not powerful enough, not enough fuel. We've talked about that quite a few times in the past, where you've got this big flying grain silo / barn, and what can you do to slow it down? You need to slow it down so that you can land, because landing at 800 miles per hour, however many kilometers per hour, is not a good idea. So you need to slow down. What's the most efficient way? Oh, it's the end of the video. I'm just going to click up here while I explain this. What's the most efficient way to slow down before you're landing? And with Starship, it's got such a big cross section that it can sort of turn sideways and fly through the wind like this, fly through the air like this, move through the air, so that the airflow is hitting basically the broad side of the barn, like you can see in the picture here that I totally didn't intentionally bring up. But by doing that, they don't have to have as much fuel for the landing. They can sort of stay sideways. They'll have the heat shield on one side, and they can use that to slow down before they then flip around and land on their tail. Of course, they don't have big enough wings, so they can't glide in for a landing on wheels or anything. They have to go from, I'm slowing down with this belly flop, to flip it around and then landing on the tail. So that's sort of in a nutshell why they do it. I'm going to grab a lot more questions here as well. That was pretty straightforward, right?
I just imagine Starship landing on a runway, like with wheels extended like an airliner, and just like skirt, skirt. Like I don't know why it's so hilarious to me, like to imagine that, because it's so not what it would actually do. Oh man, can you like that'd be wild. Let's make Skylon a thing. Chris, go knock on what was it, Reaction Industries or whatever. Go make
Oh yeah,
Skylon
reaction
a thing, darn it.
engines. Yeah, they've been going years.
Yeah.
Ever since it was Hertel to start with, then it changed to Skylon.
Yep.
and they have been going for years and years and years trying to get this thing to work properly and then to have a test flight. So,
It's the combined cycle engine is going to happen. It's
mm,
only a matter of time where technology will catch up and material science will catch up and make combined cycle a thing. I don't know if it's actually efficient or a good idea, or if it'll end up even being useful for space flight or just, some sort of high flying military aircraft or something. Who knows? But I'm excited in the same way that at a certain point we didn't have turbofan or high bypass jet engines. I'm really excited to see what a combined cycle engine does. But I, more questions, Das. Sorry, you got me
Yeah.
talking about.
That's all good. This is from the wet dress rehearsal the other night. This was on December 3rd, I think. I don't know if it's the 3rd or the 2nd
Yep.
because I'm just reading the video date. But I'm just rolling video that we haven't played yet because I have an entire stack of videos. Y'all know if you just go to the channel here, you go to the NASA Spaceflight YouTube channel, there's just so many videos to watch. There's no way I could even play them all. Let's grab another question here. Okay, we got that one. There's a lot of questions we've already answered just over the course of explaining what's going on. Here's one about the orbital launch pad. Jack, you saw this last night when you were out at the beach spooling up that
Yep.
camera for us. What's going on with the Boca orbital launch pad? They pour the columns and they haven't seen much. So since you've been out there, have you noticed anything else? Is it just sort of static and they're focusing on other things?
Yeah, and I'm not sure what they're doing there. I'm pretty sure though that concrete that they poured and the volume of concrete that they poured will like it basically needs a long time to cure. So I'm not
Ah,
sure if that's on the order of months or weeks or what, but it seems like they have progressed to doing more work around the orbital launch pad rather than on the orbital launch pad itself. And surely they'll need to do a lot of work in terms of pouring concrete, grading the earth, laying down culvert and wire runs and plumbing and whatnot. And yeah, so they've also started building a set of structures next to the orbital pad similar to the ones that are next to Pad A and the tank farm that some people call bunkers. I hesitate to call them bunkers because I don't think they're intended to be occupied during a launch.
right.
I don't know if that
But
I don't know
a fuel
if that
bunker is a
makes a
thing too.
bunker,
Yeah, you could
but
call it a bunker even if there aren't people in it, because like a fuel bunker, an ammo bunker, it's a
okay, yeah.
safe place to store stuff, basically.
Yeah, so they're building more of those near the orbital launch pad. That seems to be the majority of the work currently in that area. And I'm guessing in terms of the concrete pour and what's going on with the pad itself, that is just a matter of time for them to let the concrete cure. But I don't know that for certain.
Gotcha. So it's keep an eye out whenever you're out there next. Have a look, see if you see anything else, or you're maybe very right. It just takes time for that volume of concrete, that thickness of concrete to
Yeah.
cure before you can really start building the rest of the structure, putting mass weight on it, whatever. Good one. Let's see here, and I'm running as many as I can in the next 5-10 minutes here.
Cool.
Do we think in the coming future Starship will have new leg designs, or maybe it'll
Yes.
stay the way we've already seen it? We know it's going to get some different legs, right?
Yep. The
Like,
current legs are an interim, like sort of stopgap situation. Elon himself has tweeted that they need new legs, but I he also tweeted something along the lines of like, "But better legs is more mass" or something like that. So I think they're currently still looking for the best trade-off between um, a leg that has more mass than they maybe want, but also has features like self-leveling or not single use, things like that. So we'll just have to wait and see. That's one of those things where we're all dying for another Elon Starship update because the drip of info on Twitter is amazing because we always have some new info to talk about in relation to Starship. But it would be really cool if we could learn a little bit more about how that's going to work.
gotcha. I'm just going to keep running questions here. See if we can get through as many as we can. Any updates on Super Heavy 1? Chris or Jack, have we seen any piece of paper taped to the side of something, things being stacked? What's the status of Super Heavy 1?
I liked how Jack described it last night in the live stream. They'd seen in the video the two sections, two locks, was it, Jack? But also
Yeah,
when you drove up and drove past the production facility, I'll let you take the story on, but you can actually see them as you're arriving on site.
yeah. It's basically as you're driving past the production site, in between the production tents and the high bay, there is a large number of ring sections, and they are like they're all or most of them are 4 rings high, which tend to be the sort of the base block unit of a Starship or a Super Heavy is various 4-ring high segments. Whether it's a 4-ring high segment that has a common dome in it, a 4-ring high segment that's just pure tank section or what have you. Those are sort of like the basic Legos that are the the raw element of a Starship or a Super Heavy booster. So you can see a huge number of those 4-ring high segments sitting around in that area between the look at that shot sitting around in the area between the high bay and the tents. And yeah, and Mary has shot labels on a lot of those. And if you
Yeah.
follow Brendan on Twitter, he correlates the information from those outstanding Mary photos of all the labels and whatnot on all the sections that she's able to get a shot of the label on. And I mean, we've seen sections of the LOX tank. I think there's 5 of those, and we've seen 4 of them, maybe even all 5. We've seen sections of the methane tank. I think we've even seen the Super Heavy booster number 1's forward dome sleeved. So there's a lot of parts of Super Heavy already put together, and it's just a matter of stacking them in the high bay. But so far, the state of play for Super Heavy is still what it's been for a little while now, where it is just the 2 LOX tank sections in the high bay right now.
Gotcha. All right. I'm continuing. I'm looking at the time. I'm trying to see if there's anything else we can update. But this video is from our live stream. That's why we have the double overlays. One day we'll come up with a solution for that.
Who's the guy
But
with the camera and on his phone?
yeah, this was somebody like taking a picture of Starship live on our stream yesterday. But this angle was from Mary, and then this angle was from Jack. Jack actually out at the beach. We usually can't be in this spot, but since it was just a hangout stream, they weren't actually doing an active test. Jack, you were like on top of a dune or something out there, weren't you?
Yeah, I drove my Land Rover out to a specific area that I have earmarked as having a nice view,
Yeah.
and set up. It's the beauty of having a Land Rover and being able to drive around on the beach is I can look for cool shots and cool angles like that. And that's why I have the Land Rover, and that's why I like to drive off road, is because you find cool shots and angles that you might not otherwise be able to see. And I absolutely love this angle for sunset because you're not looking into the sun. It's not quite backlit, but you still get that blood red sky. So
Yeah.
I'm a fan of this angle. We can call this the Jack angle.
The Jack angle. Nice.
Can we just do one more clarification? People still haven't got it in chat.
Yeah, I know.
There is not a launch tomorrow. The notice Mary got was indication of no launch tomorrow. The alert notice for people for a static fire test at the most. They will leave the village if there's a launch. So they'll get confused. There's no launch tomorrow. That alert notice confirms there's no launch tomorrow.
Right. So the next window that we're aware of for a launch, backed up by TFRs and road closures, would be Monday, correct?
Yep.
Yep. So if anybody hasn't got that yet, we during the course of the stream we got something that we think we are comfortable saying is confirmation that there is no launch attempt for SN8 tomorrow. On Sunday, no SN8 launch. Some tests maybe, we're not sure what sort of tests, but maybe some tests, maybe a static fire, maybe a pre-burner, but no launch tomorrow. Maybe Monday. Stay tuned. We'll see. Seeing if there's any other questions. What do we think is going to happen with the lunar mock-up? You know, the lunar mock-up. I think I've got a picture of that actually. Here it is.
Yeah, I'd love it if they stacked it on one SN5 or SN6. SN5 or SN6, because those are the 2 Hop twins which were there and are still at the production site without any work being done on them. So there's no reason why not. They could just put the internals inside that mock-up and then stack it on top of a SN5 or SN6 and then paint SN5 or SN6 white.
White. Then install an elevator so you can go up and.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. They could use that just a complete mock-up, and that's what they're definitely aiming to do with the inertia kernel, at least.
There was a time there where it seemed like, yeah, they're just going to stack it right on 5 or 6, and maybe they still will, but it remains to be seen if that'll happen. Either way, though,
Yeah,
that's definitely the thing that I am most excited to point my camera at out here, besides SN9 and SN8, is that moon cone. I love the moon cone.
The
It's got the
moon
worm on
cone.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, moon cone.
Worm
Come
gang.
on.
The
What's
moon cone,
yeah,
he calls it.
what's wrong? What's wrong about that? It's even has a
Nothing.
nice ring to it.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. It's that thing is totally sci-fi to me. I love it.
All right, y'all. Well, I believe this has brought us to the end of our time. Did I do the math right this time? 3 o'clock, 4 to
Yep,
hour and a
that's right.
half, carry the one. All right. So that has brought us to the end of this week's NASA Spaceflight Live episode, where we talked about all sorts of different space news going on. Of course, talked about Starship and what's happening there. I will reiterate again, no hop tomorrow. Information that we got via those alert notices delivered to the residents, we take as confirmation there is no hop attempt tomorrow, because they're allowing the residents to be in the village tomorrow. Best guess on the hop attempt is Monday, backed up by TFR and road closure. So that is the status. Oh, I need to upgrade the overlay on the other stream too. I'll do that after we're done here. But that is that. Couple super chats here at the very end. Grant, we appreciate you. John McAdam, thank you for the support. Ian Brosh, hi from Auckland, New Zealand. Hi from Charlotte, North Carolina is where I am. Ian, thank you so much. Michaelo 90 there. Thank you as well. There's a couple questions in here that we're just not going to get to. One about a drone. John Garcia asking about a drone. No drones at Boca Chica. Anywhere around there is a no-fly zone. In fact, all across Texas, it's illegal to fly a drone and take pictures of somebody else's property unless you have certain, what's the right term? Exceptions or something like that. And it's almost impossible to get an exception. So no drones taking this. Any drone footage of the SpaceX facility taken in Texas would actually be illegal footage. Let's see here. Anything else? Oh, Leo Thompson. Go ahead, Jack.
If you see somebody flying a drone at the park or around the build site, you have my permission, not NASA Spaceflight, but you have my personal permission to hit it with a baseball bat.
Oh, jeez. NASA Spaceflight, not responsible for whatever Jack said. So anyways.
But I agree, so there you go.
Thank you. By agree, he doesn't mean that NASA Spaceflight takes responsibility for you.
No.
Anyways.
Oh, not that bit, no.
Vats, thank you so much. There's a couple questions in here that we're just not going to get to. Appreciate the $5 there. Leo Thompson as well, asking about how many proven Starship flights we would want to see before I'd hop onto a ride to Leo. It's just like proven Starship flights before I'd go on a crewed one. I mean, give me like 100. I'd be good. Anyways, y'all, as usual, we get so excited about so much different stuff. We never have time to talk about everything. We could sit here for probably 8 hours straight and just talk about stuff, but we've got lots of other stuff going on. So we are at the end of our window for NASA Spaceflight Live this Saturday. Thank y'all so much for joining us. I know I missed so many questions. I apologize. We could just never get to all the questions, especially since we go off into the weeds on every single thing, because we love this stuff, right? But thanks everybody for joining. Our special guest, I didn't even know to call y'all special guest today. Over here, we've got Chris Bergin, founder of NASA's Spaceflight, hailing from the UK. Chris, thank you so much for the time today. We appreciate you stopping in.
Always a pleasure, Daz.
And for turning on the camera. Every now and then Chris is like, "Oh, do I have to turn on the camera?" I appreciate you giving us a camera today. If I've got live feeds from Boca Chica showing starships, I won't ask you for a camera, but I appreciate you.
Got a face for radio.
Y'all, that's Chris Bergin over there. You can find him on Twitter at NASA Spaceflight. He's the actual NASA Spaceflight account. Toss him a follow, because anything that anybody else does relevant to NASA Spaceflight usually gets cleared through that account, retweeted or tweeted from there. If you want to know what's going, did I just point the wrong way? That way. If you want to know what's going on, Twitter at NASA Spaceflight. And then over here, Jack Beyer. Jack, thank you so much for taking time. I know you're down there in Boca Chica, and you gave us an hour and a half here today to do some live Q&A and just talk about what's going on. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, it worked out. The rain and the cruddy weather meant that I wanted to stay inside today anyways, so it worked out, and now I will get to editing the daily video, and maybe I'll even get around. I shot some 360-degree video of
nice.
the whole site the other day. Maybe I'll get around to editing that finally, so we can get that posted as well. So more content coming, even though NASA Spaceflight Live is wrapping up for the day. Got plenty more content coming, so if you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell, so you get updated and notified from Mary on those daily update videos.
Yep.
And yeah, if you want to follow me, I'm the Jack Beyer on Twitter. I've been trying to post some kind of Starship photo or whatever every day that I'm here. just to keep the pumps flowing. And yeah, if you want to support me directly, I just put a link to my Patreon in chat.
Oh, there it is right there. Cool. Help Jack pay for his Airbnb there directly without the YouTube's piece. Jack, thank you so much for the time today.
No worries.
Hey, Bubba Conway, real quick, thanks for the $15 there, Bubba. Coming in under the wire. We appreciate the support. And also all the people who support our streams via the membership program. There's audio on the scene, right? Yeah. Whew. We can't even read the list anymore, but all the launch directors, flight engineers, red team, pad rats, if you have become a channel member, we really do appreciate your support. This is sort of the unsung heroes where the people that do super chats get a live shout out during the stream. And then these are the people that are just there every month supporting us with those recurring memberships. So we appreciate y'all making it so that we can do everything that we do as well. And last but not least, over on the Twitch side, Zaldafax and everybody else that did resubs, Sefin, we got Sherman120. Thank y'all for the resubs over on my Twitch channel. I've been doing this for a long time on Twitch, and I sort of simulcast this over to Twitch so that my Twitch folks can see it. And I appreciate the resubs and stuff like that over on the Twitch side. But that's the end. We're done talking about all this different stuff. I'm John Galloway for NASA Spaceflight. If you want to keep watching things happen here today, you can follow us. We still got Fleet Cam Live watching the drone ships and the drone ship. There's only one in port, and the fairing catchers and the crew recovery vessels over there. And you know something, until the sun goes down, I'm going to keep up that other live stream from South Padre Island. I keep checking, and you still can't see any sign of Starship. I don't know if it'll clear at the last second. Probably not, but I'm going to leave it live until sundown. I said I would for the people that have been watching over there, listening to the sound of waves today. But for now, NASA Spaceflight Live signing off, and we will see you nerds later. Oh, click the link to the merch store. This entire stream, I have kept this on because it's like fog covering up me being able to see this, my roadside rocket science shirt, and I completely forgot. And then the mug over there as well. Somebody put a link to the merch store in. Sorry, boss. NASA Spaceflight Live, signing off for real. Later, nerds.